Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So today, I'm taking a look at this article from Bangor Daily News, which if you don't know is based out of Bangor, Maine. And I'm taking a look at this article because it talks about a poll that was released between Sara Gideon and Republican Senator Susan Collins. And I want to do this because as we get closer and closer to the election day, we're I believe 26 or 27 days away, depending on when I upload this video. So we're starting to get closer. The presidential race is very close, but the control for the Senate is really, really tight right now. It could really go either way. So as we get closer, it's very important to take a look at all these Senate races and seeing how they will go. And one of the closest races, in my opinion, is Sara Gideon and Susan Collins. Susan Collins, the long-term incumbent, been in Washington a while, historically has won by pretty big margins, but she's in the political fight for her life right now. Sara Gideon is up one in this new poll, and I want to just go over and talk about it and what this could mean for 2020. So, first things first is, as I mentioned, Sara Gideon, who's the Speaker of Maine's House, is up 1 point over Susan Collins in the new Bangor Daily News digital research poll released on Tuesday. And for reference, I'm recording this on Thursday, so 2 days after it came out. Gideon has 44% of the vote compared to Collins' 43%. So neither candidate is at 50%, which is very important. I'll be getting to that in a second. So Gideon has 44, Collins is 43. Unenrolled candidate Lisa Savage and Green Party activist Solon had 2%, and then Bar Harbor businessman Max Lynn had 1%. So the third party vote doesn't seem to be very conservative. It seems to be more liberal splitting of the vote, which is also important because Maine, which is different than a lot of other states, is they enact this thing called ranked choice voting. And I'm going to go over these points in a second, but what ranked choice voting essentially means that if no candidate gets to 50% of the vote, then there's a second choice where, say, if you vote for a third party candidate, okay, well, they didn't reach 50% of the vote. So then it's Susan Collins or Sara Gideon. Which of these two candidates would you rather, which of these two candidates do you like more? So the Green Party candidate is most likely to vote for Sara Gideon because the Green Party and Democrats tend to agree more than Green Party and Republicans do. So they'll vote for Sara Gideon. Then if Sara Gideon gets over 50%, then Sara Gideon would win and Susan Collins would lose. Now, I mean, that's just the unbiased view of how it goes. Personally, ranked choice voting, in my opinion, I think it's kind of stupid because I just think that you have a race, whoever gets the most votes in that race in the state wins. So how we do it now, for instance, if Sara Gideon wins with 45% of the vote, she wins by like 1,000 votes over Susan Collins. If she's winning by over 1,000 votes, I think she got more votes. She should win. I don't think ranked choice voting is necessarily necessary. Well, that was redundant. Necessary, not necessary. Anyway, yeah, I just think ranked choice voting is not really necessary, but Maine and a lot of states are starting to get on this bandwagon of doing it. I disagree with it personally, but that really has nothing to do with the article or the poll. That's just my opinion. You can have yours, whatever. But yeah, so this poll shows Sara Gideon got 44% of the vote, 44%. Susan Collins got 43%. And then Lisa Savage is the Green Party candidate, I believe, gets 2%. So I can assume that that 2% would go to Sara Gideon's 44, bringing her up to 46% if the election were held today. So that being said, as I mentioned, that there's four-way race ranked choice voting if no candidate achieves more than 50% in the first round. The polls of the sample of Savage and Lynn supporters were too small to accurately predict where they would vote, but we know the Green Party candidates will pretty much vote for Sara Gideon. This latest poll does show that the average among independents is a 4.5% lead for Sara Gideon. So if independents are favoring Gideon, that's not good for Susan Collins. In a state like Maine, which is a Democratic state at its core, it was close in 2016. However, it will not be as close as it was in 2020 as it was in 2016. For Susan Collins to win, she has historically won a lot of. She's won independents. She's won a lot of Democrats and won mostly all the Republicans. She'll win most of the Republicans as she always would, but she needs the independents, especially in a very polarized race. And right now, Gideon's up 4.5 points over her in the independents, which is not good news for Susan Collins. So the poll conducted also showed how President Trump and Joe Biden were doing and how the first district and the second district polls were going as well. The Jared Golden race of the second district, this is the really competitive one. That if Republicans have a chance to flip one race, that'll be the one. But at this point it's gonna be tough to see it flip anyway. However, new poll: Biden has 51, Trump has 40. In August, Biden had 45, Trump had 38. So both have gone up, but Biden went from what 45, 51. He went up by 6. And a lot of undecideds in the other categories seem to make up their minds. There's 8% undecided, and now there's 5. So 3% likely went towards Joe Biden. Some voted for Trump as well, but most have gone towards Trump. Or towards Biden, excuse me. This is also the first poll conducted after the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And they have a poll, actually, they polled Susan Collins' decision not to vote for Justice Amy Coney Barrett in favor of letting the election decide because of what the Republicans did in 2016. It's actually an even split. 21% of voters said it made Susan Collins more likely to vote for her. 21% said less likely to vote for her. And then no impact is 52. So a majority of the people said this didn't make an impact. And honestly, numbers wise, you need more likely to vote for her to be at like 30% for Susan Collins to feel better about it. That was a move that was politically supposed to save her and help her seem more as a moderate. And I heard that Joe Lieberman endorsed Susan Collins as well, so that might help her. That might also help why the race is getting closer. This is the first poll conducted where I think it was one point where I think a few months ago Collins was down like 5 or something. So it has gotten closer. But for a long-term incumbent to be losing at this point, that's not necessarily a good thing. We've seen this on the popularity and negativity. Gideon is more popular with 42% approve, 37% disapprove. Collins is 38% approve, 49% disapprove, which is better than Trump, but it's not good, especially not for re-election. This is what I always say. This is the issue: is this somewhat positive, somewhat negative? It's whatever. This is what matters. Very positive 20%, very negative 24%. Not great. Susan Collins, very negative 27, very positive 17. So she has a lot more people who don't like her than Sara Gideon does. Only 3%. But Gideon also has 3% more strong support and 3% less negative support. That's what you need to look out for. When people are motivated and energized and enthusiastic about voting for or against someone, that's what you really need to keep an eye on. And they also have this little chart right here on whether they think each candidate is principled and a bunch of different stuff. So Susan Collins is principled. So that is good for Susan Collins. 45 to 33, that is good. And then Sara Gideon is 41. Sara Gideon is not as 29. So that's good news for Collins. It does get worse, though. 2 tied to special interest. Susan Collins is 47% here. 34% is not. And then Gideon is an even split. So it's not great news for Susan Collins that a lot of people think she's tied to special interest. I'm not going to lie. 2 tied to the extreme elements of her party. Susan Collins is 45%. Not extreme is 32%. So not a majority of people think that, but the fact that she's trying to be a moderate and she has been a moderate and 45% pretty much said, I don't think so. That's not good news for Susan Collins. Now, the last one they have here, focused on the needs of people like me. 2012, Romney versus Obama. This is the key issue. Was a lot of people thought Mitt Romney seemed out of touch on President Obama was caring more about people like me. Look at this. Susan Collins is negatively approved of in this regard. More people believe Susan Collins does not focus on the needs of people like me than does. 43% says she doesn't. 39% says she does. Sara Gideon is 43% people say they do. 33% people say they don't. This could be the chart that means everything right here. Does Susan Collins care about people like you and I? According to these polls, close to a majority of people say no. And according to this polls, close to a majority of people of Sara Gideon say yes. This could be the key indicator on why Susan Collins is not winning independents, and she needs to make up this ground if she wants to win in 26 days. So this is only 500 registered Maine voters, but still something interesting to keep an eye off of. I'd like to look at the localer polls because I feel like a lot of the time the big national media company polls often gets caught up in the, oh, well, they hate Republicans and Trump, so why would they be favorable to Republicans? So I feel like when you look at the smaller polls, like the local, like newspapers and stuff like that, I feel like it's more, not that it's more accurate, but it's like more accountable what's actually going on. I think the closer you get to your local community is the more accurate the polls get. So I feel like the fact that this shows a very close race, but Sara Gideon's up by just a little bit, that's how I would agree with how the race is right now. That Sara Gideon is narrowly ahead, but there's a lot of undecided vote left. Susan Collins can still pull out a win, but it's very, very close right now. So that's going to be it for the video. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.